Hello. Looks like we're rolling. Today is September 3rd, 2018, and here is your reading. So let me review your question. So you said your concern is your relationship. You and your, you said, let me do it with your pronouns. So my concern is my relationship. We have had a very tough 2 years, and just when I think it's getting better, something just draws me back. It's like one step forward and then 2 steps back. I have tried to be patient and let things kind of work themselves out. My concern is, at what point do I just let things go? I have a very hard time letting go, so that is where my issue lies. So I guess the real question is, am I holding on to something I should let go of? Am I holding on to something I should have let go of a long time ago, if that makes sense? So let's take a look at that. Now, you chose the Smith-Waite borderless tarot deck, and you also chose Earth. So this is the Earth Power Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, and this is the illustrations are by my favorite tarot artist named Jimmy Manton. So these 2 cards I drew for you using the 9-digit number you gave me. I used some numerology. So the tarot card I like to save until the very end. I feel like it's a good conclusion. I feel that it can either give you some guidance or draw everything together. And the oracle card I like to use at the beginning to set a tone for the reading. So you got the Temple of Isis, Aswan. So the tone of this card is, I am open to be mothered. I can mother. I can heal my relationships and my life. My body is a miracle and can be healed of imbalance. So the salient point here is, I can heal my relationships and my life. That's interesting. And I'll just state that I can heal my relationships in my life doesn't necessarily mean fix my relationship. Healing a relationship might be continuing it and repairing it, but healing your relationship might actually be ending it too. So I think it could go either way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 3 cards to set a foundation for you, and then we'll go through those first. One, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this extra one. My attention was drawn to it more than once, so I'm just gonna hold on to that and see why I just was drawn to it, but we'll just keep that there. So it looks like the Ace of Swords is about, the aces are about a divine offering. They all have this image of one of the elements or one of the suits being divinely offered with a hand that's coming out of a cloud. So basically there's an opportunity that's usually short-lived that is coming your way, or there's some sort of stroke of luck or a stroke of insight in terms of the energy of the suit that has just been offered to you. And this ace is the Ace of Swords. So this is a suit of the mind, of mental energy, of reason, of rational thinking and whatnot. So I think that this is really about, you've just gotten some ideas. And I think, basically, this is you asking the question, right? This is you asking about the question of your relationship. It seems like you have some new ideas to explore in this area that have been coming to you lately. There's an element of success here with these ideas, because there's a crown of success at the top of the sword, and there's the palm frond, there's the olive branch and whatnot. So I think definitely that this intellectual, mental sort of energy that has come to you lately to start questioning things, this is going to bear fruit for you. Now, in terms of the present moment here, the energy, you've got justice, and you've got justice in reverse. So the way I read reversals is I read reversals as blocked energy, and blocked energy can mean, I usually don't read them as the opposite. I usually read the blocked energy as meaning that it will take a long time, it's going to be very difficult, and those are two sides of the same coin usually. So justice is really about, it's more than just seeking balance. Like all the twos in tarots are about like having to have balance between two sides and stuff, but this is more significant since this is a major arcana card. So I think we can take some of the literal meaning here, that, you know, given what the way you described your relationship, and you're trying to figure out whether or not you need to stay, it's kind of to stay or to cut and run. You also talked in your question about, you know, moving one step forward and two steps back. So I think that, you know, justice here is definitely about seeking balance in a way that is to bring proper balance to both parties in the relationship, and also to really stop I think to bring things into a sense of equilibrium, so that there's no more of this two steps forward and one step forward and two steps back, right? And basically that's the difficulty right here, because it's reversed. This is going to be a totally difficult thing to do. Now, the next card here is it's the Seven of Pentacles, and Pentacles, the energy of Pentacles is it's earth energy. It's the suit of earth, which is something else that you picked here, but it's also, it can mean livelihood, it can mean your home life, it can mean home life and your livelihood in terms of putting a roof over your head, having a stable home, being able to clothe yourself. So it can have a little bit to do with work, but I think it's, you know, at its fundament, it's really about being grounded. And so this is kind of like echoing, you know, what you said in your question to me, which is that, let me find the words that you used. I think it's getting better, and then something just draws me back. I think you mean backwards in that case. And so this card is all about being patient. So you can see that there's a figure here. He's like resting on a garden implement, I think a hoe or something like that. And basically the seeds have been planted, the seeds have been growing, but they're not quite ready for harvest. So I think this period of stability that you hear, it's not quite there yet. It's not quite ready. And it's being, I feel like these two cards are definitely echoing each other, because this sort of balance of justice and whatnot, this is what you've been trying to achieve. And basically, in the near future, it looks like it's still not going to have been achieved. It's still not going to be ready. You're still going to be waiting. You need to wait patiently. I don't know though, crops can die. So there's never, like, there's a light side and there's a dark side to every card in tarot, right? So like, it looks like, you know, the energy of these cards right here is just that you're going to get, I think it's really trying to say that you've had an idea, you've had some insights into figuring out that there's a problem, you need to do something to solve it, but it looks like what's going to happen is you're going to fall back into the same pattern again, because it's going to be more of this waiting, like you said, like we've had a very tough 2 years, you've tried to be patient and kind of let things work themselves out. I feel like here that, you know, you've had the stroke of insight, but I feel like you're going to get sucked into the same pattern again, is what I think is its fundament here. Now I'm going to take a look at this card. I don't know why this like came up to me, but maybe it's some sort of guidance that we need here in the situation. Okay, so the guidance in the situation here, we've got the Page of Cups. So the page is a beginner. Of the court cards, there's 4 court cards, right? There's page, knight, queen, king, and the pages are, well, like on a literal sense, a page is a messenger, right? It's the kind of entry level job that you get. So one of the ways you can look at it is the page is a beginner, and the energy of the suit here, cups, is the suit of emotions. So on an emotional level, you have beginner energy here. So I think the way I would interpret this is that you've had an idea, you're starting to inquire on a mental level. The theme of the reading is about healing the relationship. You can be motherly and mothered. And now you've got this over here. And I'm wondering that if what the guidance here for you is to start nurturing your intuition. So like cups are the suit of water, they're the suit of emotions and whatnot. So there's no water over here. And in fact, usually so many of the cards actually have water in them. Like so many of the cards have water in them in the background. And it's interesting here that one of the things that's lacking in your foundation is there is no water. So what I'm wondering is if this is telling us that, okay, you've been trying to solve problems, you've been being patient, but maybe you need to start using your intuition a little bit more. And you're going to be a beginner at it. It sounds like it might not be something that you do, but this might be an opportunity to use water energy in your problem solving abilities here, or in the way you go about solving problems. And maybe that's why this card was like sticking out to me. It was something that was kind of lacking, and something that you needed. Now, let me go ahead and do the relationship dynamic part of the reading. So I'm going to draw 3 more cards. I'm going to draw a card for you. I'm going to draw a card for your partner. Did you use a pronoun? We'll just say your partner. I don't know if it's the he or she. So, you, partner, and then the energy between the two of you. So let me draw those. So you, the partner, and now let's draw the energy between the two of you. Okay. Well, I mean, this looks like a really positive outlook. Okay, so for all the lack of water down here, you've got a lot of water energy up in the relationship dynamic. So the energy that you have is that you definitely have the capacity to have a really fulfilling and emotional relationship. The 10 is like the 10 of cups is basically like the epilogue of the story of the cups, the epilogue of relationships, and it's about ending up as like a happy emotionally fulfilled family. This, like, the dwelling in the picture is very modest, but most people like this card more than the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is a very like sort of luxurious, it's like a luxurious rich family, but they look stable and well off, but they don't look emotionally fulfilled the way this family do. So if on in terms of a relationship, this is the card that people usually want. However, it's reversed for you. So there's something that's kind of blocking you off from getting this right now. So that might be what we talked about down here, the reason why this is blocked. So one of the things you might need to do to use your intuition about is that, where's this blockage coming from? You in this relationship, the energy of you in this relationship that you're asking about, this whole being happy on an emotional level and being fulfilled on an emotional level is blocked. So is that something that you are blocking yourself off for by staying in this relationship? Or is it that you are self-sabotaging? Or like, we need to figure out, maybe you can journal to figure out, I don't know anything about you. It could be an external factor that's helping block this energy for you, but it seems like something's blocking the emotional fulfillment aspect of you in your current relationship. Now, the partner over here, he's got the 2 of Cups, which is the relationship card. So the 2 is all about balance. Like, the less significant kind of balance that we were talking about in comparison to justice here. So on an emotional level, it seems like your partner has some sort of emotional balance in at his disposal. Now, I don't want to say this because this is usually a really happy card, but like the first thing I got when I saw this card is I was wondering if he has someone on the side. Like the Two of Cups is about twos, so I don't know if like he or she maybe has something else on the side that where they're getting emotional fulfillment from, like outside of the relationship too. I wonder if that's a factor here. Let me draw a clarification card on that. So what about the source of this like happiness here? Like, is it focused on this relationship, or is it focused like, is it like a division, like a dividing into two? We've got the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is, the swords are about the mind, like mental things, reason and stuff that we were talking about over here. So on a mental level here, the energy of the partner is about winning and losing, number one. It's about, it's balance in a different sort of way. It's talking about balance in terms of like the consequences of actions and things like that. So the Five of Swords, you know, there's, if you look at the picture, so you've got like a guy with three swords in his hand, and then he's clearly the winner of the battle here, and then there's like two losers in the background, and then there's like the loser in the very distance has their head in their hands and they're crying, right? So there's like, yay, I won, but then there's like a consequence to like coming out on top. So I think like, what I'm getting from this is that his energy in this relationship is like super happy and he is emotionally fulfilled. But to me, in order to have this, there's some component of like someone's losing in order for him to be this happy in the relationship. So someone's losing out on something, and I don't know what that is. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know. This sounds complicated. So, like a basic thing could be like, okay, well, he has someone on the side, and so like, you know, each person is losing because like he's getting emotionally fulfilled, but like each person is getting like only half of him. Or it could not even be, it might not even be about humans. It could be about something else, but I feel like that there's, in order for him to get this, there's, or she, whatever, this person, your partner, I feel like there's a, someone has to lose in order for him to win. So I don't know if you can make sense of that, but that's what I'm getting. So now the energy between the two of you, it looks like the two of you together can really make things happen. So I don't know if this is one of the attractive qualities of this relationship. Like you, like the Magician is about manifesting. So you guys can, somehow when the two of you come together, the power of the two of you, you guys know how to make things happen. So you can make things happen in the relationship. You know how to do it and you have that power. That doesn't mean that you're always doing it, but definitely the two of you coming together, you guys can manifest things. And so you've had a very tough 2 years. You keep getting drawn back. You've been patient. You're worried about letting things go. So I guess the question is, what has kept you here? Something has been keeping you here for a long time, right? So I think you have to like figure out, well, what is it? The way I would look at this is like, what are you getting out of the relationships? Because so clearly, you know, there's been rocky periods, but something in the relationship has kept you there. It's cemented you into it, and it has basically, you guys create something together, even in the midst of turmoil. So what is that thing? And why is it keeping you there? And I think like when you answer your question about, are you holding on to something that you should let go? You should have let go of a long time ago. Well, as Wayne Dyer would say, like when you're someone's acting out or something's going on in your life, or if you're suffering abuse, or if you're doing whatever, you're getting something out of it. So what this is telling me is that, you're talking about the need to abandon a relationship, but clearly you both are getting something out of it. So I think in terms of the justice and weighing your options and bringing balance and figuring out how things are going to go, I think the answer to your question is what you're getting out of the relationship, does it outweigh all of the turmoil and the tumult and the things that are not so good? If the answer is yes, then maybe you need to stick with it. If the stuff that you're getting out of the relationship and the stuff that you make together isn't worth it, because you are basically, he's doing good, but then you're blocked from that emotional fulfillment. So if the cost of having the emotional fulfillment in your life and in your heart and soul is more important than what you guys create together, then maybe the answer is yes, you cut and run, you let go. I am open to be mothered, I can heal my relationships in my life. So if the healing of the relationship in your life is that you need to start focusing on the emotional fulfillment, you need to do what it takes to turn the card around. So you have to figure out, in order to turn the card around so that you're not blocked off from the emotionally fulfilling you in a relationship, then maybe the way this card turns around is to abandon the relationship. So, but at the cost of what? What is this? What are you guys creating together that's so great? So like, I remember an episode of Oprah from like 20 years ago, and there was this couple on, and basically, I can't remember exactly basically they would argue every day, and they were really mean to each other, and they were horrible. And then Oprah just said, it's like, you know what? It's like, if you guys hate each other this much, the sex must be really good. And, they kind of like both looked at each other and said, yeah, the sex is really good, right? And like Oprah made some joke about it's like, oh, you must be hanging from the chandeliers and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be sex. But like, this is like the episode of Oprah is what kind of comes to mind, where it's like this sort of disjuncture here. It's like, oh, you fight all the time, but the sex is really good. Or, if there were different cards here, it could be like, you fight all the time, but one of you, like when you're together, you make a lot of money because you're in a business partnership and you guys are rich together. And if you got divorced, you wouldn't be rich anymore or something. It could, like, what are you getting out of it? And is whatever you're getting out of it worth being blocked off from the emotional fulfillment? Or do you need to give that up to turn the card around? Or is there another way? It might not even be giving up the relationship. There might be a third path where it's like, okay, there is something I can do to turn the card around. So what is that? How do you get the balance? It's going to take a while to figure out, but it looks like, I don't know. It looks like you've been in the relationship a long time, and like the way it's going now, it's not ripening, right? Things are not ripening. So I see the stagnancy here. Now I think I'm going to move on, and I'm going to draw the card that you picked, like to sum up the reading. So let's see what you picked. You picked the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles is, well, it's blocked for you. So the Queen of Pentacles, queens are masters of the power of their suit. So we already talked about pentacles down here, meaning things like stability, livelihood, feeling grounded, and whatnot. And interestingly, you've got like the nurturing figure of mastery of pentacles. So mastery of things like livelihood, of feeling grounded, of feeling safe at home, of feeling like I have a roof over my head, like your basic needs on the material plane are being met. Nurturing that is something that will help tie all of this together, but this is the hard part, and again, it's blocked energy, so it's going to be really hard to do that. But in essence, it's kind of like the theme of the reading here, like the open to being mothered and I can mother. It's like, it might be that you have to create this sort of groundedness and stability in your home yourself. I can heal my relationships and my life. So healing your life the healing of this relationship could be ending it, or the healing of this relationship might be figuring out like, why are you two so good together, and then focusing on that and using that as a tool to heal the relationship. It can go either way. Only you can figure out, though, the specifics of the situation, and if it's like you want to hold on to what you're creating to turn this around, or you have to give up what you're creating to turn this around. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I hope this was useful to you. Maybe you need some more specific questions answered for your next step, but asking tarot questions over and over again, asking questions of the tarot over and over again may or may not help you. But I think as a next step, like all the junk that I said in this reading, maybe you can journal about it and try to figure out what jumps out from you, because I feel like, the intellectual opportunity that you have right now is, I feel like, you can figure this out, right? It's going to take some time, but I think you can figure this out. And I think the stroke of insight that you had recently that made you reach out for a tarot reading in the first place, that same energy, you can harness it to help figure out your own problems, because you can be open to being, you're open to being mothered, and you can mother. That means you can do it like a DIY, honestly. So best of luck to you. Thanks for the opportunity to read from you, and I hope you found this helpful.